Welcome to Bachelor,
a podcast so educational it could be a university class.
With your hosts,
Danielle Dick McHugh,
Kim Hannah,
and Bill Henninger.
Hello, everyone. How are you today?
We're great.
I had coffee this morning, and I apologize because I might be a little wired tonight. It's all three of us.
It is. Kim, your
We're
teeth
so
are very
excited.
white. I just realized, like, strikingly white. Yeah.
Well, I thank you. I'm going to go a little personal for a second. I've had a piece of sweet corn stuck behind my permanent retainer on my bottom row for several days, and it's been driving me crazy to the point where I have not gone to a dentist since I moved to Cedar Rapids, and that's longer than I've gone without seeing a dentist in a really long time because I loved going to the dentist. I love getting my teeth cleaned, and it finally pushed me to make an appointment for tomorrow so that I can get with a new dentist so that I can get my teeth cleaned. And then today I've been flossing 3 times a day. I've been brushing 3 times a day trying to get this GD thing out of my mouth. And then today in a meeting with my boss, it just came out. Well, thank you for motivating me to make a dentist appointment.
I love that Kim's wearing a shirt that says feeling sour today, and I'm like, well, yeah, you've had corn stuck in your teeth for 3 days.
It has been driving me crazy.
Oh, sweet relief.
I do feel like the tens of people who listen to us from a state other than Iowa were like, don't they all just have corn stuck in their teeth all the time, 24? Isn't this just a uniquely Iowa problem?
One of my friends posted an article about how corn is part of the reason that this heat is so awful, because apparently corn can put out a whole lot of water. So some of the humidity that we're experiencing right now is thanks to the corn.
If for those of you who've ever worked in a cornfield, I believe, Bill, you've detasseled in your day.
I worked on a farm when I was a kid.
You worked on a farm. I worked for my dad from 8th grade. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. Was I legal to work? Sure, probably. 8th grade through high school, in the summers pollinating corn, which, yes, it is exactly what you think that means. And it is so hot in a cornfield this time of year that it's disgusting. And so absolutely that humidity we're so Iowa right now. That humidity
y'all realize we're recording, right?
Blowing out of the fields, and then you just
is this still Bachelor or is
all right, I'm sorry. I've made us go astray. No more talk of corn.
Okay.
Long story short, thank you for the compliment, and I'm getting my teeth cleaned tomorrow, and I'm very excited about it.
Nice.
Okay. Hi, guess what? We got to watch the show together this week. How fun was that?
It was awesome.
It was so lovely. I have a question for you guys. I assume that everyone who listens to us has probably already watched this episode. So I'm going to do a spoiler alert. Hey, guess who's the new Bachelor? It's Joey. So my question is, who would you have chosen from this season to be the next Bachelor if Joey had said no to the producers when they asked?
From this season?
From this season. So the boys of this season, who would you have liked to have been the Bachelor if Joey had said no?
That's a tough one because you do you go for someone you think really honors the process, or do you want drama? Because I
think it depends on what you want out of the show.
My mind is Aaron, because I think he really took this serious, and I feel like he would probably be a good spouse given he finds the right person that likes his take charge, I'm a man attitude. But I also feel like Xavier would have been good TV because
that's the tough thing is two episodes ago Xavier would have been the easy answer, but then cheating knitter.
Clearly once the rubber meets the road, Xavier's nah, and here's why. I can't be trusted not to cheat. Okay, guys,
Yeah. He broke my little knitting heart.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I was like, oh, I thought Tanner did, he made it. He was like the end of the season, as you said, Kim.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he's cute, so I would keep watching him. But I have no clue if he has a good personality.
Yep.
He
So
seemed nice
I
enough.
had, oh, sorry, go ahead. What?
He seemed nice enough, but like,
Yeah.
I will say I don't feel like we got a lot of the guys' personalities besides like the handful of guys that we got their personalities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know, throw Braden in there. Let's just see what a really wild lead would be.
So I was gonna say my choice for who I actually liked from the show would be John, because I had a giant big old crush on John the whole time he was on the show. But for pure entertainment chaos, Braden. Like
I
he
love
would
John.
be the best / worst bachelor, because he so clearly wanted to be the next bachelor that would just add a level of chaos that would make for, I think, good entertainment. But I love John. Ooh, no, I really like John, and I would have liked him to be the bachelor.
Braden would have picked himself in the end. Nobody loves Braden more than Braden loves Braden, right?
Which would have been a really funny after the rose.
He would have like had it in an earring and been like, just tell you guys, pick myself. I got an earring.
I picked this earring and this hat.
I'd forgotten about John, which I'm disappointed in myself for having done, because actually, like, hands down, I think John's the right answer there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent answers, everyone. First of all, I'm so excited to be putting the show together today. I haven't gotten to do a show flow all season, and I had so much. No, I didn't mean that as a bad thing, Danielle. Danielle did a little like chaos planning for this season, and we are here for it. But I ended up not doing any show flows until tonight, and so I'm super excited. And I apologize in advance for how chaotic this episode is going to be, because I am a little bit chaotic. All right, are you guys ready?
Not Danielle chaotic. She created a schedule of who makes the outline. If you were like, Bill, draw me a picture of Danielle creating an outline, it was exactly, it's like people here, and Kim and I were like, is there a pattern?
There's no pattern, and I don't have an asterisk by my name ever.
It was like
I
an
have
episode
no
of
idea what went wrong other than y'all have been tired lately. I don't do well anytime that things are in cells. So I made a table, and I think that's where I went wrong. Like, tables feel like math to me. I get really sweaty. I twitch a little.
It was like the third installment of National Treasure, me like sitting down trying to solve Danielle's cryptid.
What is the plot of this spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Chaos. The plot of this spreadsheet is chaos. All right. Are you guys ready for my recap?
Let's do it.
I timed it. It's more than 2 minutes, but it's less than 10.
All right.
Let me take a deep breath. Everybody buckle up. Here we go. Okay. So Jesse introduces us to the live audience. Some of our favorites are there. Also, Braden is there. And he's wearing a hat, which I heard later is because he showed up in dreadlocks and they were like, no, you can't. No. And made him wear a hat. I don't know if that's true. That's the rumor I heard. Jesse talks about how this is a 3-hour episode and it is going to blow us away. We'll see. So we go to Fiji. In Fiji, Erin is giving Charity acid reflux. Never a good sign. She says sending him home was the hardest thing she's ever done. Girl, really? That's the hardest thing you've ever done? She asks him to stay so they can chat in her room, and the audience box in the corner is showing people all like, ooh, okay. Barb, who's Pilot Pete's mom, is there, and she's clapping. She's all in. Let's do this. Erin is like that guy who can't take a hint, and you have to humor him so he doesn't go all weird and stalkery on you. In her hotel room, he shows up wearing a Chandler Bing bowling shirt circa 1997. They chat. It's boring. She says she's not sure, but come on, we know. Time for the rose ceremony. Who is cruel and is making the men wear suits in 1,000-degree Fiji with 1,000% humidity? I mean, you could tell Joey's hair just kept getting curlier and curlier and curlier. It was awesome. So thank God Dotun's not wearing socks. That will help. Joey and Dotun are expecting to see Xavier, but instead dumb Aaron shows up. The men are shooketh. Dotun and Aaron make Joey look so tiny when they're all standing together, and Aaron shows up looking like a New England prep school frat bro. Pass. Charity shows up and thanks them for a great week in Fiji and that she appreciates them all. That's super hot. Dotun is sweating so much. Get that man into air conditioning as quickly as possible. I feel like they could have done this rose ceremony in Ballroom A at the hotel. Joey gets a rose. Then Charity asks Aaron to go for a walk with her, which is not a good sign. She sends him home and gives Dotun the second rose. Because duh. I caught on the second viewing that I totally watched it again Tuesday night because we were having so much fun watching and talking that I missed half the episode when we were watching it together. Anyway, so on the second viewing, I caught Dotun winking at Joey as Charity walks him out, or as Charity walks Aaron out, like, no worries, man, I'm good, I'm safe. I love that for him. So then we go back to the live show. Jesse and Aaron sit and talk. Aaron just comes off creepy, and he's wearing a salmon-colored suit. And I have thoughts on salmon-colored shorts on men, but I don't hate that suit. Jesse shares that Aaron is going to be on Bachelor in Paradise, and great, he achieved his goal. He was on live TV for about 3 seconds, which is about 2 seconds too much, I think. Charity's mom, Dad, aka Forrest Whitaker, and sister Mia are now in Fiji to meet Joey and Dotun. She says her mom is her best friend and her opinion is everything. Mia looks awesome in both outfits we see. Her parents are adorable, and I actually would like her mom to weigh in on my life choices. They meet Joey first, and they love him. He has a conversation about interracial dating with her sister, and he says all the right things, and he does seem very genuine with them. We go back to the live show. Jesse talks to women in the audience who definitely are not plants and who may be on the next season with the new Bachelor. Maybe. Then we go back to Fiji. Charity's family meets Dotun. He seems very nervous, and their first impressions of him aren't great, but she wants it to go really well, which is a clear sign that Charity really wants Dotun. Her mom says that Dotun is familiar and a safe choice for Charity, but she likes Joey more. Charity wants her mom to tell her which one she should choose, and her mom won't because, what's that? She's a grown-ass woman. Her mom says to trust her gut. Charity asks her family again who she should choose, and they share both of the guys' great qualities and tell her again that she needs to make the decision herself. Charity is super annoyed, and her mom says if she doesn't know, she shouldn't make a decision, which is the right answer. Charity goes on another date with Joey. They talk about the family date, and I have no memory of this part of the show when we watched it together the first time. It was kind of boring the second time through, except then the poem came out, and then I remembered. And that poem that they were so in love with that I'm sure a random English professor from Tulane, who definitely wasn't a plant on the streets of New Orleans, wrote that poem, or hundreds of other couples have been given that same exact poem from the street poet. Who's to say? We'll never know. Then we go back to the live show. We see a preview of Bachelor in Paradise, and I'm not going to say anything else because we'll get to experience it all together as it happens in September and October. Back to Fiji. Charity goes on another date with Dotun. He gives her his resident alien card from when he came to the U.S. when he was 4, and that's a super sweet gift. She kind of asked Dotun what she should do, which is a choice. But don't ask one of your potential fiancés what you should do. I don't know. It seems bad. Okay, it's proposal day. Charity looks flawless and says being with Dotun is effortless. And then we see Dotun meet with Neil Lane. The first limo pulls up and Joey steps out. Oh boy. People in the small square in the corner of the screen are already starting to tear up. Okay. What commences is the most awkward 5 minutes of my life watching Joey propose to Charity and her letting him almost go down on one knee before she stops him. Oof. She starts to cry and he tells her it's okay. People in the audience are just losing it left and right. She tells him she's in love with him and is a mess. I don't know that you should tell someone you love them while breaking up with them, but that's just me. Joey keeps it together until he gets back into the van, and then they show him in the corner in the live studio watching it go down. Oh my gosh. So he's crying in the van. She's crying outside, and the audience is losing it in LA, and everyone's crying. I did not cry in Iowa. Then we go back to the live show. Former Bachelor Zach is there, and he's also not crying. Joey says he actually doesn't remember most of the breakup because he kind of blacked out. He looks fit, tan, has a haircut. I wonder if there's a reason. Charity comes out so they can have a conversation and get closure live in front of everyone. She looks flawless again. They have a nice conversation and are being very adult and mature because they are both adults and mature. Yay! How is there still an hour left of this show? Jesse says all of Bachelor Nation will be shook by the historic thing happening this episode. We weren't, by the way. Fiji, time for Dotun to arrive. I'm guessing, hoping she had to take a 24-hour period to fix herself because she was a mess after Joey's segment. I hope they gave her at least a couple of hours. Then Dotun's proposal was wonderful. No notes. Everyone watching in LA is very happy. Everyone watching in Cedar Falls were happy. Dotun is so tall. Sorry, Bill. So tall. Back to LA. Charity and Dotun come out to talk to Jesse and are adorable. I think Dotun should be in a different colored suit, though, because he blended in with the background. We see another snippet of the Golden Bachelor, and I am obsessed with his dog. Also, no dads actually wear that sweater, except on TV. We get back to Jesse sharing a big surprise that Charity and Dotun are being sent to Greece on a pre-honeymoon, or what everyone else calls a vacation, and also that Charity is going to be on the next season of Dancing with the Stars. The new Bachelor is announced, and it's Joey. The audience loses their shit. And then one of the absolutely not planted audience members, the one from Hawaii, weird, is announced as one of the cast members for his season. And then Jesse gives her an envelope and says she can't open it until the season starts filming. Our theories on what the envelope says will be later on. And that is a wrap on Charity's season. The end. Namaste.
Woo-hoo.
So,
Look
I need
at
to take
you whittling
break.
down those 3 hours.
So in watching it the second time, because I am a masochist, it was even more awkward. The Joey proposal was even more awkward when I was actually super paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Did I catch everything?
yes.
You did. You did awesome.
Did I miss anything?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay. I didn't talk about the other plants in the audience because they were boring. And you knew from the beginning that the girl from Hawaii was probably the one that was going to be on the show. So
Happened to cruise on in from Hawaii.
just, caught a boat. Here we are. Okay, so let's get to concepts. Aaron. What are our thoughts about Aaron? Was he here? Was he on here the whole time to either get The Bachelor or get on Bachelor in Paradise, also known as not here for the right reasons? Or do you think he was legitimately in love with her and not a plant by the producers to extend the storyline because they'd run out of material?
I never got vibes from him that he was maybe trying to get on one of the other shows, but I never really liked him that much. There was like a moment where he got kind of like jealous and grumpy, and it's like I haven't been able to see him quite the same way since then. It's almost like there's like an intensity to him that I just have a feeling it reveals itself a lot more in real life. So like
Yeah.
I'm just not a huge Aaron fan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want him as a brother-in-law. He seems very like, this is my way, this is the way things are gonna be. And I think there's probably space for that in some relationships. I didn't get a sense that he was trying to stay to get more like time. And honestly, man, to get flown back to Fiji, like you gotta really wanna. And my understanding is when you're done, they don't let you hang around the country for like a couple more days. So it's not like he was like, well, she dumps me, I hang out on the beach for a couple days. It's like they hustle you back.
Maybe they promised him Bachelor in Paradise if he got turned down by her.
Yeah,
and that made it worth the trip.
Is he on Bachelor in Paradise? We don't know the cast yet, right? Oh, he is.
No, he's on. They
Yeah,
talked about it at the live show, and then they showed him when they showed the stuff.
He'll be an interesting addition to that because I think he is going to have a hard time with the idea that the relationships are free flowing on Bachelor in Paradise. Like one point you're really in, and then the next point it gets flipped, and like people can change on a dime. And he seems very much wired for a monogamous committed relationship.
Yeah, I think there's a possessiveness or something to him that would play out well in a romance novel, not in real life.
He was the one that kind of attacked Brayden on the minibus, right?
Yeah. He's definitely one of those people that tells other people he's an alpha male.
Yeah.
And not like I'm an alpha male, and you're supposed to be like, oh, alpha male. Well,
I'm impressed. Color me impressed.
Yeah.
I liked his date because that was the Hollywood like theater date more than I liked him, I think.
Yeah.
Well, and I liked them okay. Even then though, I was like, I felt like there was a spark or a chemistry between them that was missing. I actually thought I was impressed by his maturity on that first date. I felt like we don't always hear, especially that early on in the season, people having real conversations.
Right.
And I felt like him and Charity did have real conversations, and I appreciated that about him. It was like as the show went on, there are just little things that I saw from him that for me would be a red flag.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah,
anything else about Aaron? Oh, sorry, Bill, go.
He's the one with a kid.
Is he?
He has a kid.
Did somebody have a kid?
No, that was another contestant who went home a lot earlier, I think.
Really?
Okay.
And he was very alpha male-y. Who you're thinking of, Bill.
Okay.
Because I think that at one point I described him, Kim and I were recording an episode, and I described him as like a man, and you were like, no, he's a child. Because remember, we're like, if somebody that would like leave their child that quickly.
Because it was a little one, right?
Yes,
It was like a little baby.
Yeah. I thought it was Aaron. Okay, well.
Someone else.
Let us know which one it was, because we don't remember. It was 9 weeks ago. That's too long ago. My brain has been fried by the humidity. I don't know.
Go on to the next concept, and I will.
Okay. So the next concept is family. So Charity, first of all, we loved her family, right? Her family was amazing.
Yes.
We missed her brother, though. Her brother didn't come to Fiji. That's a bummer. But my question is, so Charity wants her mom to make the decision for her, and her mom is giving her a hard no. Do we think that her mom has made a lot of decisions for her and finally is just like, you're adult. You need to make this decision on your own? Or what? What are your thoughts on the family, on Charity's family?
Adrian Hassan.
Oh, yes. I remember Adrian.
Well, I've been living a lie for the last 9 episodes, folks. I am on board. I am shooketh. I am untethered from my boundaries.
So I thought that there were ways, at least in the way that it was edited and we saw it, that Charity's mom was in fact giving her some clues. And it was clear that Charity wasn't liking what she was hearing.
Yep.
I don't know that I get the sense that her mom has made decisions for her. I think her mom seems like a pretty good parent who has probably been pretty thoughtful about those sorts of things. But it was clear that I don't think that it's just that Charity wanted her mom to make a decision for her. She wanted her mom to say Dotun.
I think she wanted her. Yeah. Yes. And her mom was saying includes Joey. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and the sister was saying Joey. And yeah.
I think they were doing what good family members do. You know, like they were giving her the choice and they weren't willing to outright say it, but they were giving her kind of like when we hire someone at the university, we give a pros and cons list to the dean, and but we don't rank it, right? And I feel like that's what the family was doing. I don't know if I agree with the family. I'm really surprised. Like, I'd really like to have seen more of what happened. That the families thought Joey was such a better match for her. But yeah, I felt like the mom was like, I mean, what else can you do as a parent? You don't want to make your kids' decisions when they're adult for you. Also,
I like the one whose name rhymes with snowy, but
yeah,
you choose who you want. It's not my choice.
but you also like, they're going to be your son-in-law, so you want to give some input. So
I thought about that as like Dotton's parents were in the audience. They showed them sitting next to Charity's parents once the proposal was over. And I was like, is that awkward for them to watch? Is it awkward for Dotton to watch this part? Like,
I felt like there were so many things that must be so uncomfortable to watch back.
Yeah.
There's the family stuff, but also just how the proposals go down. The fact that Charity, I mean, even Dotton has to be so sure of things, because to have this person be like, oh yeah, just hours before I was back and forth, I didn't know what I was gonna do, like that would be hard for me.
yeah,
Because you're like, yeah, you chose me, but like I would have liked it to be a clearer choice,
Yeah. It would have, and maybe she said it and it just wasn't shown, but it would have been better if she'd said to her mom, I'm sad that you're not saying Dotton, because Dotton is who I want, and I'm sad that you're not saying his name. Like, if, and maybe, and again, that conversation may have happened, we just didn't see it.
I wonder if she didn't know yet. Have you ever had like a situation where like somebody's like, oh, well, where do you want to eat? And I'm like, oh, either of those places are fine. And then they're like, all right, I want to go to Cane's. And you're like, oh,
Damn it. Yeah.
I don't
Oh
want
yeah.
Cane's.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
like,
yeah.
sometimes you don't know until somebody tells you the thing that you don't want, and you realize like that's how you know. I felt like maybe some of that was happening for Charity with her family.
I have had that, but I'm not eating Cane's 20 years later, like every meal. And like, God dang it, I wish I would have spoken up more.
Right?
20 years ago, I wish I would have said, no, I want to go to Fazoli's.
Fazoli's.
Does that even exist anymore? I don't even know.
I agree with you, Danielle. I felt that was like exactly what was happening in that conversation. Maybe she didn't even realize it, but it's like there was a clear preference in the family, and I think she had a preference, but she hadn't come to that conclusion.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about that in class this morning about like, subconscious thoughts, and like, do you actually know everything you're thinking and not? And it's really interesting with 20-year-olds, 18, 20-year-olds, because I don't think they really think much about that. And then I feel like as you get older, you make decisions and you're like, oh, that was a stupid decision. What was I, but when you're 18, like you never make a stupid decision. You just make wonderful choices, and then someone cleans up your mess after you make a dumb choice. Usually your parents.
Yep. Love it. Fantastic. A+. Okay. I just realized I did 5 concepts instead of 3, but we're doing okay on time. So we'll keep plugging away. I think we can talk about the proposals together. So I had it as Joey's proposal, oof, and Dotton's proposal, ooh la la. What were your thoughts on how they allowed the proposals to happen and how it was shown on TV? Because it was Joey's was so painful to watch. So painful to watch.
So this is me getting into Danielle dishes just a little bit, because I think it will make sense to kind of do this a little bit together. But I thought one of the most interesting things about this finale is that usually by the finale, you're really rooting and you feel really empathetic for the lead. And I feel like I loved Charity as a lead. I thought that for the most part, she handled herself with such poise. She was decisive. She made healthy, mature decisions. The last episode, I was so disappointed in her the whole time, right? I didn't like I was kind of like frustrated with how she was talking to her family. And then the Joey proposal, I was like, no, like if you have decided, okay, like one, if you haven't decided and you just walked into this and you're hoping that like you're gonna just feel it in the moment, like that's not fair to anybody. But also like just stop him. And I felt like there were multiple times too that she said stuff where it was clear she's like, oh, well, I just need to say this. And I'm like, for you,
Yeah.
for you, it was not for him. And it was
Yeah.
like the first time in the whole season where I was like, ugh, Charity, I'm not liking you right now. And I think that that's interesting because that's not normally where the show takes you. Usually by the end, you're kind of like empathetic and excited. And I will say, like, I kind of struggled to be that happy for her because I was frustrated with her this whole episode.
Mm-hmm.
I
Do you think it was because it was like, oh crap, the shit is hit. I'm swearing so much tonight. This stuff is hitting the fan. I have to like get engaged, and I've just been having fun, and now this is like real, and she freaked out.
Well, I think so, in psychology, they have this whole thing where it's the situation's more important than the person, right? So you get put in a situation and people react in ways they don't think they would. And so I wonder if like stopping him, it's like she kept wanting to, like she knew she was gonna, and it's like, I'm looking for the spot, I'm looking for the spot. And then when he starts to go down on a knee, it's like, okay, I really need to stay. Yeah. But it's like you probably could have stopped it way before, like right when they walk up, like, hey buddy,
Yeah.
this is not going to be good.
Yeah.
That smile off your face.
Yeah. Because
And
he
then,
had no idea.
yeah, and so even at that point I was like, she's doing her best. It was when it was very clear that she had told him, I'm not going to be with you, and then he kind of accepted it, and then she kept breaking down, but like, I just have to say this. It's like, you really don't have to say this, right?
Yeah.
At this point your goal is to get this guy out of here semi in peace, and then you do what you need to do to feel better. But it's like, it seemed very selfish to keep him there, and clearly he is not somebody who is going to stand up for his needs. And I feel like in a relationship, at minimum, what you can do is know your partner and be like, all right, if I'm going to break up with them, I got to do it in a way that like honors kind of how they would like it to be done. And him being like, it's good, starting to walk off, and her being like, I got to say this. It was just like, this is like, yeah. And I realize the production can't cut the camera, but they probably could have at some point been like, let's,
Well, and it was really awkward to me that she kept reaffirming how much she loved him as she was breaking up with him. Like, knowing that, 10 minutes later she'd be going in to a proposal. I don't know. Like, I felt that I'm sure that this is really hard. And actually, overall, I still think Charity rocks. Like, I mean, I don't think that this kind of captures, like, I think she's pretty awesome, holistically. But I just did feel like she was pretty selfish through a lot of these, that it was about her kind of needing to express what she needed to express and her feeling okay with it. And like, I didn't really feel like it was about his response either.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was awkward. It wasn't great, but it made for good TV, didn't it? Whew, that live audience was dying. Okay, so let's move on. Speaking of Joey, so Joey is the new Bachelor. Will Joey be a train wreck? Will Joey be a smash hit? And yes, I did Google tennis terms.
That's funny because when I read it, I thought it said smash or pass, which is a totally different connotation.
Do I want to ask what that is?
Well, you can use your imagination.
Okay.
It's a youngin term on the TikTok machine.
Oh God,
TikTok machine.
Smash or pash.
So, do you agree with me that that girl was obvious? She knew ahead of time, and that was a plant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Okay.
one, she was gorgeous. And they're like, we just happen to have this gorgeous woman from Hawaii. Oh, you're in Hawaii as well? Well, what? Oh my God. Huh, right? Like, come on now. Yeah.
No one is surprised. So, okay. So let's talk about this.
Can I ask another question? Can I ask
yes, please.
The other girl that I said looked like the lady from the Queen's Gambit, the actress.
Yes, Anna Taylor something.
Kimpedia is here to help me on that. She was from around where his family is from, if I recall.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, she was. Yep.
shocker
She
upon
said it.
shocker. Yep. Shocker upon shocker. The two women that they really highlight are from right near where he lives. How random, right? 350 million people in the US, and you get these two gorgeous women here. Well,
Sometimes the universe just aligns.
kismet.
Anya Taylor-Joy in the audience, and she didn't get picked. It's very sad. I bet she's on it too, though. I bet she'll come out in a limo.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah. Well, not Anya
Over.
Taylor-Joy, but the woman that looks like
It'd be
Anya
over
Taylor.
for me if she walked out. I'd be like, it's over, guys. Like, no. She's very good looking.
I choose you. What do you think the envelope is going to say? What do you think when she opens it on the first episode? What do you think it is?
I think that she's gonna get like a free pass for some time with him. You know, it's interesting though, because they don't like. I'm like, that's bringing some Bachelor in Paradise action to the Bachelor.
I love a good game, so I hope it's like they get to like she gets to eliminate one person the first night.
Oh, that would be
Physically
awesome.
hunt them Hunger Games style. Or like she gets to, it'd be a good one. She gets no questions asked, interruption of time with somebody else, and there's no back. Like she gets to just like, sorry, I want to go with him, and then everyone's, oh my god, wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be awesome.
Or she gets to like,
Bill immediately went dark. He's like, it's like the lottery.
Yes.
It's like Hunger Games.
Yes, exactly. Or okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Cocktail party. She gets to throw it down when she wants. Everyone has to leave. She gets them for the rest of the cocktail party until the roast ceremony.
Oh, that would be fabulous.
And they just sit there. They just sit there in their dresses, like looking in the windows while they canoodle. And I said canoodle. And just like, oh my god.
This is already going to create drama because, regardless of what is on that, people are going to be upset that she already got to meet him even at this thing. And they're going to have all of these assumptions and rumors, and it'll be great.
They did something like this before, like recently, where
they had those like 5 girls when Zach was announced as the Bachelor, and then America voted.
Yeah,
for who got a rose.
Yep.
And she didn't last very long on the actual season, but she also was the only non-blonde person there. So
she self-eliminated once she talked to Zach for like 2 minutes, like that.
Right? She's like, pass, never mind. I respectfully withdraw. I think that the envelope is kind of like an immunity where she either automatically gets a rose on the first night, or she gets the first one-on-one date.
She gets to pick one girl that has to change out of her dress and into a potato sack.
Why you're dark tonight, Bill?
I have sisters. I know. I know how you take another sibling down when you need to.
The producers are going to start reaching out to you because they're going to be like, we're bringing you on. You're going to be the drama starter. Like, you're going to be your role.
We've heard of one man where the force is so dark in him, he can think up a way to ruin any rose ceremony.
Or she's like, or she's on the first group date, and automatically goes through, and none of the other girls know that she's automatic, and then she can just act like a heinous psychopath, and then they'll be shocked when she gets to go through, even though she's acting wild and out of control.
She gets to pick one girl to wear an eye patch on their one-on-one.
You're all in on her targeting another.
Yeah, I like it.
I love it.
I love it.
Evil. Whew. All right. I love that. I love that. I love that. So my last final thing with Joey is, so Joey talked very candidly about his that his dad came out and has a significant other, and we never saw them. Do you think that they weren't shown because of some of the audience of The Bachelor? And do you think that now that he's the Bachelor that they will show them, or do you think the guys are like, we're good, we don't need to be on the show?
I don't know. I mean, while I find this show to be pretty heteronormative, pretty white, right? Definitely cisgender. I would say that with Demi, like there have been plenty of like gay, queer, like moments in the show. So I don't think that it is. I think that if they can create drama and create talking points, they'll do it. And I think that, so like I don't know that I think it's a show's decision to not show them.
Maybe
I
they
could
did it.
understand if they wanted their privacy, and I could also understand if they didn't want to support this like wildly heteronormative show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just didn't want to have to read the comments, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
well, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I-
I will say that they kept showing Gabby and her girlfriend in the audience,
Yeah.
and the girlfriend continued to look more and more annoyed with the whole thing, and like she didn't want to be there, and I enjoyed that for her.
Here is my problem with that. They kept showing her, but they never acknowledged her. I have a problem because I think sometimes the Bachelor franchise wants to cash in on things that they can get a little more viewership, but they don't want to have to lay their card down, right?
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of having the, random somebody come up there, bring Gabby and her partner up there. Her partner's a comedian, for God's sake. Like, I
it would have been amazing.
How funny is Gabby? Her partner's a comedian. I guarantee it would have been a good 6 minutes of television, know. But instead they sit him up there and it's like, here's our token gays. Like
I felt like the entire way that they were just showing like people like Barb, Peter's mom. I thought that it was really interesting how they did that. I don't feel like they've done that quite to the extent that they did this last episode before. Like I thought that a lot of it was like, hey, we're bringing all these alums, we're being, to this, and we're going to spend a lot of time giving them FaceTime, watching their reactions. And I just thought that it was weird. Like you kind of said, Bill, I mean, for a different reason, but like I do think that it was kind of weird to have this done and there was no talk about it.
Yeah. Like, here's why it happened. Yeah.
Right. Well, and, like you had 3 hours when you didn't need it. You could have done the show and you could have done the show and had After the Rose in 2 hours. It would have been fine. But if you're gonna fill time talking to those people. Don't fill time with all those stupid girls in the audience. Sorry, girls in the audience.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like they kind of just tried this new thing that they could have done something with, but then like they did it, but almost didn't acknowledge that they were doing it. I don't know.
Well, and we had a text message about Gabby, and one of my things was I thought it was interesting, like good for her, she's come out, but she's kind of built a brand, right? And so this is pretty brave on her part to like do this. And it's like, if the Bachelor really wants to like support this, then they need to at least announce her partner's name and say it out loud. But instead we got this very like, ooh, here's our gay fans over in the corner. Wave to you guys. We're not going to let you talk.
Yep.
Yeah, I did not like it. I stewed about it and thought it was to, make the next season really bad on whoever gets the card. So.
Are you going to send a strongly worded letter to the producers?
Maybe. I wish they had city council type meetings for.
Oh God! Could you imagine? That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Danielle, do you have more to dish on?
Actually, we covered both of my dishes. So my 2 dishes were, I wanted to talk about like all the alums in the audience, and particularly why did I have to see so much of Barb? I thought that it was going to come back up somehow.
Yeah,
right?
why were they there?
Because I was just like, how do you give someone so much screen time and like not like it felt like they did something, but they never made it go, you know. And
Everybody
so,
in our house was like, "There's Barb again."
yes,
She was
and I mean,
constantly on.
and or I thought that there would be a big discussion about Charity's family, and like that would be such a point that we would understand why other people's family members, like past leads family members, were on so much, but like there was like nothing. And so, that, and I did just want to talk a little bit about, kind of like just making sense of, kind of my response to Charity here at the end. And actually it wasn't necessarily like how I felt about her, but just that I thought that it was an interesting, like was that her, or I do think that the show gets to control so much of the ways that the leads are perceived by us. So I thought like it was just such a different, because it was just a different twist in some ways. So that's all I really had to dish about.
Love it. Excellent dish. Bill, talk about your beef, please. Wait, let me rephrase that sentence.
I need a moment.
I think that so Joey, clearly by the end of this, people were really into Joey, and we've already talked that it might be a train wreck, and I just want to bring up this idea that Joey seems singularly devoted to Charity's interests. And I think sometimes people think that that is the pinnacle of a romantic relationship. But I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters in Christ, it is not.
Yeah.
To have somebody that is so focused on only you being happy, what we find in research is that generally the person who is the focus of that doting eventually gets bored, or the person who is doing all the doting ends up feeling like they are under benefited. And so what we find is the happiest relationships are where both people are looking out for the other one's interests, but also set up boundaries for their own happiness. And I feel like Joey, man, I don't know if that guy's got any interest other than tennis, which I'm suspicious is his uncle's interest. I got a feeling his family is all shades of effed up, right? I feel like you could see it. Like there's some stuff going on, and that, that family's got something underneath just brewing, which I'm excited to figure out. But then on top of that, I'm not sure that he's ever done anything for himself in his life. You could see that with his uncle, right? Like his tennis coach. I feel like he's been driven to do tennis his whole life, and now he's doing this, and that's not the way to make a happy relationship. The way to have a happy relationship is to look out for your partner's feelings, have them look out for yours, and then both have boundaries you each respect. And oh boy, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yep.
Oh, Joey.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to know about my beef.
Thank you for that. Sorry.
I like that. I'm like a seventh grader. I like can't keep going. I'm about
to say you can say that's what she said the minute this comes out, but as soon as it left my mouth, I was like, oh no.
At least you didn't say 69 and we giggled. That would have been very nice.
Do I just don't know about Joey being, I think that you all either think it's going to be chaos, like, which I think is more likely, or it's going to be a smash hit. But like, I'm still not convinced that he has much of a personality. I think he was so nice. I like him. There's like nothing that I dislike about him, but like I also don't. I just still don't know what is him.
What level of Zach do we think he will have more personality than Zach or less personality than Zach?
Oh, I think he's on par with Clayton, who had even less of a personality than Zach.
Oh, no.
And remember, Clayton had no decision-making skills, right?
Yeah.
Because if you recall, the total breakdown where Rachel Nicole was crying and like, hold on, I'm going to go see if this other person wants to marry me. And if she doesn't, I'll come back to you. I feel like I feel like Joey has even like a rung below that of like discernment and being able to be like, this is what I want.
See,
Yeah.
I think that we learned though that both Clayton and Zach, while they presented this like chummy, like good boy vibes, that they really weren't, right? Is what we learned. I feel like Joey is kind of like, we've used the metaphor that like he's like a really sweet dog,
He's a golden
a
retriever.
golden retriever, right? Like I think that I think that he might just be a golden retriever, right? Like that he's gonna be like kind and nice, but just like kind of dumb and I don't know.
But the women are going to be
I'm
like
like so-
chihuahuas and rip his face off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. They're going to fight over him, and he is not going to be able to be like, he is going to be the anti-Charity, right? Because Charity
Yeah.
was amazing at like, I'm shutting this shit down. Like, y'all need to go, right? Yeah, I don't think that man has that in him.
no.
I think it's, yeah.
I mean, I think his heart, okay, there were some debates on the internet, like because he handled the breakup actually pretty maturely and well. I mean, some
Did he?
people were, well, I think some people were like, well, did he, because he was
What?
so kind of, I felt like he would just kind of did what Charity needed him to do, like you said, Bill,
I don't.
that like he wasn't just, he should have been more upset, I felt. And so some people were like, oh, was this like his kind of plot all along, was just to be like the next Bachelor? I don't know that I got that sense necessarily from him, but like I just think again that like you just got your heart smashed and he's still just like so nice to her.
Yeah. That's where I like, I don't think he handled the breakup well. Like, he just listened and let her kind of step over him. And it's like, I guess that, and people deal with this stuff differently. Everyone does, but it's like, either you weren't that attached because you're like, oh, well, it happens, or you really just let her walk over you and you're like, all right, talk to you later then. And it's like, that's not a good, like, you have agency in this. You could be like, no, I'm done, or let me tell you why this sucks for me, or why
Yeah.
did you let me go this long? You could have,
I think it's because he's a tennis pro and he does whatever the client wants whenever the client wants it. And we're going to see his tennis proness come out with fire on his season. I don't trust tennis pros.
Him hates tennis pros.
All right.
Read any
Lessons
tennis pro
learned.
novels? Sorry.
What'd you say, Danielle?
I haven't read any tennis pro novels.
Danielle's on a kick where like she's reading weird steamy romance novels where the men are specific sports.
Yeah, it's like there's like 7 of them in the series, and each of them are like different sports pros. And I gotta say that they're kind of terrible, but like my brain right now, I just like need to shut it down so I can go to sleep at night. And so it's, I finished one and I was like, Danielle, you should really read something with more literary merit than this. And then I had a really long day and it was like, whatever, I don't have the brain cells to read something that's smart. And so I just started the next one. So there's been like a bull rider, a hockey player.
They at least have clever like double entendres, like hockey and love in the crease.
Oh no.
Oh God.
I haven't read this one, but one of my favorites that keeps getting advertised to me is a novel called Pucked.
Love and bull riding, bareback. I can keep going, guys. I can keep going.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness.
Okay, let me bring it back. Lessons learned other than that Pucked is a great name for a romance novel.
Ooh. I learned that you just got to make decisions sometimes.
Yes.
I learned that a really well boundaried person doesn't make for great Bachelor television. Right?
I like that. I learned that I'm gonna be thinking about while watching The Golden Bachelor. Even though he's absolutely not single, I'm gonna be thinking about what it would be like to have your own father be the Golden Bachelor and watch a show with your dad or grandpa, because his granddaughter was there too, as the Golden Bachelor. Because I imagine it for a hot second. I was like, nope, don't want to think about that. Also, he's super not available, and he would never do it. But I that's all I can think about now is that his granddaughter is going to be watching the season. Will they be watching it as a family? I sure hope not. That's crazy.
I love Big
But
Bill.
I'm going to watch it, and I can't wait.
I love Big Bill, my dad, but he would say some stupid shit in the first 20 minutes. I guarantee he would say something that would get him in hot water, and it would be like, oh, God.
It would just be a hard thing to have a family member on one of these shows, no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean,
would it be harder? Would it be harder to watch your daughter on The Bachelorette or your dad on The Golden Bachelor?
I think it would be hardest to be Brayden's mother.
I don't know. She made that happen.
And pretend that you don't think he's a tool 24/7. You gotta be
probably
like,
been doing that for 23 years. He's probably been a tool.
Dude. Like, you don't need this attention, Braden.
Oh, blessings. Hashtag blessed. Okay. I think.
City shout out?
Bill, do you have a city shout out?
I do. I have not done my hometown of Newton, Iowa yet. I grew up in Newton, Iowa. I went there when I was in first grade. My parents still live there. Used to be the home of Maytag. Maytag left. Then TPI was there, which made the propellers for the windmills, and then they left. There's a wonderful racetrack there. Big Bill Henniger, William Roy Henniger III. My dad was a police officer for 30 plus years there. Danelle Henniger worked at Keystone Laboratories for a really long time, and then they both retired, and now my dad is a lunch lady with the Newton Community School District, which I'm a product of. Yep, I'm a product of that school district. Went on to get my PhD. I go back and teach once a year, and my mom is a para at the Newton Community School District. My little sister still resides there. Her kids go there. It's a wonderful place to live. Get to know Newton.
I think we all love teachers and teachers unions. If anyone was paying attention to the debates, we love teachers and teachers unions. And thank you all for listening to this wonderful season of The Bachelorette and Bachelormania. Are we going to do Golden Bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise?
You betcha.
Yeah, we will see you at least one more season. It's going to be a double season, Bachelor in Paradise and the Golden Bachelor at the same time.
That's nuts.
I'm excited.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night or day whenever you listen to this. Bye.
You have been listening to Bachelormania
with your hosts, Danielle Dick McGee,
Kim Hanna,
and Bill Hennig.
All thoughts and opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the person who spoke them.
If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to the show, leaving a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Also, please share with your family, friends, colleagues, and other ardent Bachelor fans.
If you have comments or questions you would like us to address on the show, you can email us at bachelormania@gmail.com.
Or on the Twitter with the handle @Bachelormania.
Thanks for listening.